Hello friends, and welcome back to Enterprise Architecture. Now, last episode we set up the power factory you can see behind us. This is actually our farming station where all of our crops are being grown, and that is being turned into rich biofuel to be used in our power plant here below. But as you can tell from this vast array of red lights, it's not keeping up. Even with 10 biomass burners and 4 not very efficient but still running wind generators, we're just not getting enough power to be able to keep up with all of our factory production. I've increased the farm plot sizes to the tier 2 farm plots in there, the Mark II ones. So we're getting basically 4 crops in each. Even that isn't doing the trick for us here. So even tweaking recipes, playing with it a little bit, I can't quite get the biofuel production to keep up with what we're doing. So my dreams of a green build here are largely going to have to be put on hold for a little while. Until, that is, we get to the next bit of refined power. So today, what we're going to be doing is trying to work towards that. Unfortunately, it is not a straightforward path. What I really want to get to is this refined power Mark II. This is where a lot of our sustainable various power sources are going to come in. We're going to be able to use water turbines on the various water spots, the water turbine nodes that are around the map. And most importantly, as you all know, my absolute favorite, solar panels. And for that, we're going to need photovoltaic cells. Photovoltaic cells require carbon refining. That means carbon mesh, carbon dust. Carbon, of course, we have to get out of our coal, but we're also going to need steel for this because I'm pretty sure that those require steel. So that means we need basic steel production also. So to do all of that stuff, to make basic steel, we are going to need another source of power temporarily. So to that end, we are going to go and set up a coal factory so that we can at least get enough of our factory back online that we can do some unblocking here. We can't where we're at. So we picked a great starting location, as I mentioned in the previous couple of episodes. You can't really see out over here, but across the river, across the lake, we have 4 normal coal nodes. That's what we built our coal plant on in the previous series. Now, I did not realize just over the river on the side where we are, there is a pure coal node right here. That is super close to the rest of our base, and that we couldn't ask for a better location. So we are going to work with that. We also have sulfur really close nearby. I believe this is our sulfur node here. And that means if we can unlock some of those additional recipes, we can have the enriched coal, which is a much more efficient power source. So I don't want to do coal forever if we can avoid it. I'd rather have a massive solar array going all across, well, pretty much all of the desert, I think is going to be how we're going to do that. But to get there, I do need to build a small coal plant, and I think I'm going to do that right over top of the water here. All right, so to get started, I want to build ourselves some sort of a miner here on this coal node, but I also need to power that, and I need a semi-reliable source of power. I think to that end, we are going to build ourselves a platform right where this summer sloop is. Let's pick this up. Not because I really want it, but just because I need it out of the way. There we go. And let's go ahead and drop some foundations here and build ourselves a little tower. But this is going to then use our refined power wind turbines. So let's put this down here, and we want to center this here and here. This is actually more than we need, but I'm a little worried still. You there, and then the first one is going to go down to our miner. Now, if these are up high enough, we're at 63% efficiency. That's not great, but that does mean even at minimum power, all 4 of these at minimum power simultaneously should still be enough to get this miner going. And that means we should still get coal out of it. So there we go. We're producing coal, and this coal we can then run into our power plant. So I think maybe we come up a little bit with this. Do we actually have all the logistics that we need for that? We got pipes. Oh, and we have pipe pumps as well. I would rather not use pumps if at all possible. That's just wasted power. So we might need to be a little creative here with where our actual facility is going to go. That is, pardon my math for a second, 8 that we can build? Is that right? Yeah, so that is a lot. So I think what we'll do is we will straddle this river a little bit here, and maybe we do put in a pump. Maybe we have enough power that we don't need to worry about that. So we do need to have our extractors here, but to power 8 is going to take quite a few of these. I think maybe what we do instead is put our extractors on this upper lake. Okay, so I think this is how we're going to lay it out. We'll have our actual pipes run off of this edge, and that's going to work well because, as you can see here, we have some turbine nodes right here, each at 30 megawatts that we can use very quickly, and that will help us to power our water extractions we're going to put in here. For right now, let's set up 6 of these water extractors. I'm going to get these as close to this lined up edge as I can, but I don't want them actually up on the platforms. Let's do one there, and let's reverse it here. There we go. Just like that. And then we're going to put 2 more on each side. And the idea here is that I think I'm going to do 2 sets of pipes. Again, this is going to be more than can flow through a 300 pipe here. So we're just going to plan for 600 throughput. All right, with our extractors in place, we are going to attempt to set up the logistics for our pipes. This always gives me trouble, though. I will admit that straight off. And I don't think we have stackable pipes yet. So that's going to give us even more trouble than usual. So we're going to eyeball this into where I think the stackable pipes would go normally. Put one there, and we will put one here. And now we're going to connect these up. So bottom to bottom, top to top. Now, I would like to do them side by side here. I think that looks a little nicer, but I can never quite get these angles to work. So I'm doing above and below. I always feel it just doesn't quite line up when I do it this way. See, I always get these weird build angles that it just struggles with if it's any closer than that. Now we're going to bring these down and around and over the waterfall here a bit. So a water extractor is going to give you a maximum of 10 meters of head lift, and this is 10 meters higher than that water extractor that we have all the way back here. So that's going to be the maximum height we'll be able to get without spending extra power for a pump to get it up to a higher level. So I think maybe we go ahead and we eat the cost of the pump and actually do that. And then I want to align our facility, I think, along the banks here, probably on either side. I would love to do something that's kind of a stepped approach and mirrored going in both directions. But this also has a nice little angle to it. It's not quite square. So we might get to play with that a little bit here too and have like a pair of wings coming out. So let me go ahead and start with some basic foundations here and start laying this out a little bit to see what that looks like once we actually put it into practice. So I think we want to align to that perpendicular edge as best we can. And that means kind of like, I think this, that looks like mostly perpendicular. Let's take a look real quick. How does that look to us? We want it to look as square as we can. And I think that that does look pretty good. It's basically how we want it. And then off of each of these, we are going to want to have that slight diagonal here that makes up these wings as they come down. So to get to that end, we are going to go back to using our road barriers. Now, again, this is because we don't have micromanage, so we can't really do this the way we normally would want to with just rotating things. So rather than coming straight down, we want to come just a little bit of an angle, something like that. That's just one tick. And then we're going to do the same thing here. That's just one tick. And I believe that's going to be 15 degrees at one tick. So let's see how that works. Let's grab our basic walls here. There we go. And let's see if that just parallels where we want that to be. We'll do that. And we'll do that. All right, that looks pretty good. That looks like it's actually following that contour really nicely. All right, so I think that's shaping out to be something. I've tried with having an increment of an additional 15 degrees at each step, and that just looked too flared and cut into the wall a little bit more than I like. This I scooted over just a little, so hopefully we'll get a nice bit of that canyon wall as we start to build this down, but I think this might be the basic layout that we are looking for. Now what we need to do is clear out some of this brush here and set ourselves up a nice little platform to start building everything on top of. So I think this will be tall enough to scooch through and not clip with the ground. That looks pretty good. We'll go ahead and grab up all of these leaves here. There we go. Nicely done. And this should give us a good platform for a couple of our power generators. So I think, yeah, we should be able to fit 2 coal generators on each of these. I think that's going to be the placement for these. And in theory, that should mean that once I get the rest of these platforms laid out, I think we can put the other ones in place the same way without it clipping into that back wall too much. All right, so I think this is going to be the general layout that we want to do with these, but now I'm thinking about it, I think this might look better if we put the operational bits sticking out the front of the building so that these are hanging here. So I'm going to take these out. I'm going to hold on to one just real quick here. And if I put these the other way, I think that looks a little bit more visually interesting. And let's just bring this out over the water a bit. Just like that. Did I line these up nice and straight? Yeah, I did. Okay, great. Then let's do the same thing here. Let's bring this out just a little bit. Is that the same distance? No, not quite. Just need to come out a little further with it, but let's do that with this one. There we go. So now we have those smokestacks coming out, and I think this is going to become part of the integral part of our build. It also means that when our water comes through here, it'll work out nicely. So to make that work for us, I think what we want to do here is do some conveyor wall hole logistics. And I'm going to put those on a bit of wall, I think, that we're going to have coming out here. I'm thinking through how the best way to place this could be so that it lines up nicely. Let's put these together like this and just see where this ends up being. Is that right where we want it? Again, this is another case where I really wish I had micromanaged to be able to get these just straight on center where we want them. So let's see if this works. Can we go up and in like this? Yeah, that works. It's not the most elegant thing, but I do believe that that will deliver the parts where we want them to go. And then we'll probably do some, again, flexo style stuff here, where we have these encased in concrete. So if we did something like this, and then something like this, and then something like this, we start to get that look and feel that we're talking about here. We might even leave just this top one off and just make that the facility top there. I think that could look pretty darn good. Alright, so there's the basic framing of what we're talking about here. Now these white walls are going to go away. You just have to have those in place because otherwise you can't put any of the wall holes into place. In fact, I thought that it might be fun to put some storage containers up here in this space, which is where the water from this could be pumped into. So that's what I'm currently debating and figuring out how I want that to work. Now, I only have small fluid buffers right now, unfortunately, so that does limit what we can do here. Potentially, I guess what I could do is put these right here-ish. And in the future, I could always put a large fluid buffer right here instead, and then use that to run my pipes slowly down this way. If I do that and have my fluid come in through the top, I don't actually need these wall holes at all, so maybe I'll pull those out. Alright, let's see about this. I think we start with some pipeline supports here, and these are only going to be temporary. We're just going to have them long enough to get this set up. It does look like this is going to be a bit of a tricksy angle here, so let me come up a little bit, like so. We're going to go up 2 hops there for that. And then let's come back over to the other side here, and on this edge, we're going to go ahead and come over 2 hops as well. 1, 2, and then I just need to figure out where this is going to line up. I think it's right here. There we go. And then down here, we'll also come over 2 hops. And hopefully this will just flow very nicely. So if we go this to there, so we get that nice horizontal to vertical curve, and then we have just enough gap here to put in our junctions. Now, I tried to do it a little closer than this, but it was too close and it wouldn't let me connect it with pipes. So I think that will work pretty nicely for our piping all the way down. So let me just repeat this all the way across both sides here, and then we'll have our setup for where the water will at least be feeding into these factories. And now we're starting to get our water in finally. It took us a little while to get to this point where our extractor is actually extracting, and our power situation is still bad. I had to add 2 more wind generators, and this is going to continue to cut off when it goes to that dip point. So we need a way to store power sooner rather than later. We need to accelerate our plans on that front. So now that we have water coming into our facility, we're going to turn our attention to the coal production. So we need to route the coal around to both sides of this facility, and we need to come up with somewhat of an elegant way of doing that. I think for now what we're going to do here is put down a couple of splitters, and I'm going to put this one here, and then we need one for each of these various inputs here. So that's going to line up there. That's going to line up there, and then all the way down here, we're going to keep doing this. Now, we are only going to hook up the first one for now. Let's go down and into the ground here with it, like that. Oh, it doesn't look like I can. Well, the solution here, of course, while we were being cheaty, is no clip. So now that no clip is off, we should be able to sink right in here and connect these right up with no problem. Perfect. So that solves for that little issue. Now what we could do, because we are using no clipping mode, is we could actually put all of this under here if we wanted and route our logistics. But I am worried that at some point that's going to cause me more pain than it is worth. Alright, so I think we're going to run our logistics so that our conveyor belt goes here. This is going to go here, and we're going to enclose all this so you won't see any of this nonsense later on. We'll cover this in concrete. We're only going to put the coal into our first burner for now, which is also full of water, so we should be okay there. I'm not connecting up any of the rest. But once this starts up, that should be enough power, in theory, to fuel all of our various machines here that we need for this. The miner, as well as the water pumps and the water extractor. At least that is my hope. So now it's getting 10 coal in. It's on standby, but if I turn this on, There we go. And then I connect these up to this. There we go. It should roar to life. And I'm going to connect all of these up in this whole row. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Let's bring another power line over here just to be a little closer. And then connect all of these up. Now I haven't put all of these belts together yet. I'm going to wait until we have a decent amount of power coming out of this one before we get started on that. 75 megawatts, yeah. Okay, so this is doing its thing. Let's fill it up on coal, and now we can start connecting up all of the rest of these. So if each of these is 45, well, that's not quite enough here, is it? That's 270, and then here we're going to start running out of water again. So we do need to figure out a way to deal with that. I don't know if it's putting in a local pipe here, or maybe we put a third water pipe to top up from the other side here. I'll have to think about this for a little bit. Maybe I start putting in stacking water poles here as soon as we get stackable poles unlocked at the next tier of logistics. Alright, so the first 6 of these are now online. Now I am a little worried, actually not quite, there we go, now 6 are online. I'm a little worried about spending too much time getting this perfect, given that we are still in a situation where we need to basically replace all of this with our refined power setup instead. Those are going to be a whole different series of coal processing or coal burning. So this is good for now, but isn't our permanent forever solution for our coal production. That being said, it looks kind of cool, and I do like it a lot so far. Maybe I'm going to go ahead and put down some temporary water production on the other end here, and that will solve for that problem. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's put a water extractor on either side. Again, this is going to be a temporary water extractor probably until we get some upgraded pipes. Put one here, we'll put one here. Grab this, and then we want to take our pipes, change the mode from horizontal to vertical, and we kind of just want to take this off the edge of this down to here, like so. Let's go ahead and do this and connect this back up, and we're going to do the same on this side. And actually this needs to move over just a little bit, give us a little bit more clearance. There we go. And horizontal to vertical again and into there. Perfect. All right, now on the other end of this facility, we can actually pull another power line out. We're going to use that to run to our extractor. We're going to do the same thing here. There we go. And now these should be filling up with water as soon as I do this. Great. Oh, but we are missing one thing. Some of you already know what that is. We are missing our water pump, which allows us to get it all the way up to that height. We're going to do one over here. There we go. And now we just connect those up with power as well. The next thing I want to do here is to start gussying this up a little bit. I started filling in the blocks below here to make this feel a little more rooted. And I think that does help significantly with making it feel like it is part of the space that it's in. So just kind of filling these in until you get down to a reasonable level. Let's do this. Let's do one more right here. Do we have a crack there? Yeah, we don't want cracks. No gaps getting through. All right, starting to come together already. Now the next thing I really want to work on is this space here. I think this could use a lot of work. So what I really want to do is knock out a chunk of this. I want to go and grab my 1x1 slabs, and I want to come out over this a little bit. Something like this. And let's go ahead and put this in here. There we go, that's looking good. Now, do we have glass roofs yet? That is the real question. If I put this here, can I then go to my customizer and get glass? Oh, indeed I can. Nice. All right, so that is good to know. I would really like a more dramatic roof there. Maybe this is the time to go to Structural Solutions, which I believe also has some nice glass walls, all sorts of curved organic things, but I don't want to do anything curved and organic for this just yet. I really want a double ramp that goes down the other way. Do we have a glass double ramp? So is that the same as this? It is. Alright, so that looks like the right general thing for this. If we do a couple more of these glass ramps like this, and do we want to come down one more? Or do we want to leave it there? That's a difficult decision. So in theory, if I put these on the bottom like that, maybe this will work? But I kind of think we should come down even further than this to really make this look interesting. There we go. And I think we can fit through that little space without too much trouble. We're going to put the inverted glass ramps along the bottom here. And then we're going to do our double wall ramps again, just like so. Perfect. Okay. Now, we can finish framing this in a little bit, but I think you all are understanding what I'm trying to aim for here. What I really want to get at is to have some sort of an observation deck right here, which I think could look really, really cool. But I might also want to just bring this out by another tick here. One more set of blocks down, for instance, and really make this kind of hover into space. Let's do this. And let's do this. And see how that looks. I think maybe the frame windows are what we want. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, that looks good. Let's go ahead and make those black. There we go. Yeah, and now I think we've got something here that we can start to appreciate. Let's finish framing this in. We're going to put not blocks. I don't want to use blocks here for that because it'll make it look too chunky. I think I'm just going to use concrete walls up the side inside here. Just like so. There we go. And then we are going to do some concrete floors, but I want them to be one level higher, I think. Actually, you know what? No one's ever going to see this underneath here like this. I don't think this is a problem. Let's just do this. There we go. We'll go ahead and finish the walls out around the back. And then all that we need to do is provide a way to get into this space. So to that end, I think we are going to go back to our F-holes, which I really love. Let's see here. Where's the big one? Yeah, I think this is the one that we want here. Yeah, that'll do. So we'll put that in. That gives us this bit of light too, which I really like. And then we are going to use our architecture. We're going to use our... Let's do modern catwalks here. We'll do walkway ramps, and we'll do these down all the way into the space, just like that. There we go. And now we have a little space into an observation deck. Let's turn off flying again, just so we can move around a little bit more naturally. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. I really wish they had that fix installed where the glass reflections weren't on. That's the one thing I really can't stand about Satisfactory is the way the glass reflections make everything look like garbage. But otherwise, yeah, that's looking pretty nice. All right, and I think that works out pretty well for us. That now becomes this observation post so that we can see all of the workings and at a glance be able to tell whether or not our various coal plants are up and online because these wonderful lights out the front there. Like this one. Did that just go offline for a second? Yeah, probably because it ran out of coal momentarily here. We're slowly getting the coal in, And this is doing its job, but those last couple are going to take a little while until they get completely backed up. So we're going to let this do its thing. I do want to finish at least decorating this up a little bit more because this is okay, but I feel like we could do more with it. So let me start poking at this a little bit. All right, so now we start to add our detailing. I've put a double ramp roof on here, and I'm using round end caps for the windows because I think that makes a nice contrast. Now again, because the glass is weird, you can't really see that this is a curve on top of a diagonal very well, but I think it makes for a nice and interesting shape. With those roofs on, I think it's time to start turning our attention to decorating. I've gone ahead and started to lay out some big pillar support beams here, and I've got those going diagonally, or excuse me, horizontally across here, which I think is a little bit more interesting looking. We're gonna go ahead and use some signs here. We're gonna load our light blue preset that I've got saved there, select that color, make it glow, no background, per usual. There we go, and that should work pretty well. Let's go ahead and use that. I'm going to copy that, I'm going to paste that, and we're going to do that on the other side as well here. Okay, and there we go. We've got some nice glowing signs. This will look a lot better in the dark, I think. And honestly, they would look a lot better against black also. So let's go ahead and paint these. And let's paint these too while we're at it. Why not? Let's go totally dark city on them. There we go. That makes this look a lot more impressive and slightly more intimidating. Maybe we do the same thing here on these side ones. Actually, I'm going to leave the side ones because they pop out nicely. Now, I probably also want to use some of these small pillar supports to start decorating some of this structure as well. I feel like we could do like a row of them potentially and make it look kind of interesting and industrial. We might not need them in every slot, but I just want to see how this is going to look once we get it put together. And yeah, the rock then gets into the way. That's interesting. Maybe every other one? Yeah, that's starting to look like something a little bit here. Yeah, I think this is coming together pretty well. I think we were just going to go and add maybe a few more of these pillar supports in various places around here just to make this look a little more decorated. We'll probably paint these up a little bit as well. It just kind of makes it look like it's, you know, consistent because we're reusing the same parts over here. If you've seen my video on decoration, you'll know that repetition is one of the key strategies that we have in our box to kind of make things look like they're deliberate and intentional and not just thrown together. So you can really quickly and easily make something look very, very impressive with just having a little bit of repetition. We can also get a little bit more creative with this if we want. I use these concrete foundations, the double ramps here, but there's no reason that we couldn't also use a tilted wall on this instead. I really want this to be down here. And that might look interesting if we put 3 of those in a row, or you just one on either side, honestly, would also work pretty nicely. Yeah, I might play with this a little bit and see what I like about it, what I don't like about it, but you know, it's certainly an option. There we go, that's starting to look interesting. We do have a little bit of Z fighting here when we get close up on it, but at a distance I think that's going to look pretty okay, and we can kind of live with that. I think this is good. The only thing I don't love about this is the direction that the light is hitting this is kind of making it so that, you know, it looks a little too dark to really pick out some of these details. This might be a case where actually using the white roof instead, or again, the corrugated that we were looking at, might be a better choice, just because then you don't have black on black. Okay, I've added some railings in here. I painted this concrete white to make that Z fighting look a little less noticeable, and that works pretty well for us. The railings here, I think, add a nice little bit of texture that kind of helps this out a little bit. And yeah, altogether, I'm kind of liking how this is coming together. I don't have steel beams unlocked yet, so we can't really do as much with poles and angles as I would like, so this is going to be a design we are definitely going to revisit once we do have steel production unlocked. But for now, I think we have a pretty nice little coal plant here all set up, and I think the design works out really, really well for us. Alright, the only thing left to do is to hook this up to our main power, and hopefully, with any luck, it won't shut down immediately when we do that. Let's see here. All right, there we go. Yeah, we have production that is doubling our max consumption even with everything online, or at least most everything online. I think this connects up to everything. Yeah, these are going again. There's our quartz. Our main factory, I think, is now turned on too. Let's double check that. But if we go in here, yeah, we are assembling. So it looks like our power woes are now effectively over. We can connect everything back up and call it a day. So that marks the first half of our coal journey. The next half that we are going to be focused in on are the rest of these coal nodes over here by the lake, where we can start turning these into our other needed ingredients. Notably, we can turn it into carbon dust so that we can start getting solar. So that's going to be a big priority for us next episode. Along with not just the carbon dust, we are going to start steel production up because we have all of those untapped iron nodes up here, 3 of them that we can start using, in addition to more iron, as I recall, over in this region. Let me just double check that. Yeah, so we've got more iron over here that we can start using, and all of that is going to come in the next episode. But for now, I'm going to call that the end of this episode of Enterprise Architecture. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends.